Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 14. An agreement has been signed to equip the Port of Kingston to meet the growing demand for harbor towing services and increase its capacity to handle large shipping vessels. The 10-year concession agreement was signed on Monday between the Port Authority of Jamaica and Canada-based maritime company Ocean. It will result in 3 state-of-the-art firefighting tugboats being deployed from Ocean's fleet to the Kingston harbor at the end of this month.
We fully expect that with the 3 new tugs that they will be bringing from their fleet to Kingston, each capable of at least 70 tons bollard pull, that we will have no challenge in handling the very large vessels that now transit the Panama Canal and into our region.
Towage is the pulling of ships and other vessels along the water, usually by means of a small steamer called a tug. Vice President of Business Development and Client Relations for Ocean, Kevin Nicol, says 2 of the tugs are on their way from Canada and will be arriving in Kingston shortly. He has also disclosed that Ocean's operations will begin with a combination of Canadians and subcontracted crew, with local seafarers to be recruited.
And once recruited and trained to operate these new machines, we will offer competitive wages and introduce them to Ocean's occupational, health and safety processes. In total, approximately 40 jobs will be created and a local office will be opened here in Kingston.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says as Jamaica continues to make progress in its economic reform program, the prospect of ending its borrowing arrangement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, is more certain. He says recent positive macroeconomic outturns are indications that the country is taking more ownership of its economic program. Minister Clark points to net international reserves of $3.7 billion, low inflation of 3.5% at March 2018, and the debt-to-GDP ratio falling to under 120%.
What we want to ensure remains continuous is the anchoring of Jamaica's fiscal trajectory on the medium-term objective of getting our debt down to 60% of GDP, thereby offering the prospect of larger fiscal space for us to be able to spend on priority areas.
The finance minister says both the government and the IMF are of the view that, barring any unforeseen circumstances, Jamaica will be able to exit the $1.6 billion precautionary standby arrangement, which concludes in September 2019. He was speaking at Sterling Asset Management Limited's annual investor briefing recently. Another batch of young people have been trained to support government's crime-fighting interventions and simultaneously support the economic program through job creation. 232 recruits graduated from the Jamaica Defense Force training program recently and are now qualified for programs through the Jamaica National Service Corps. They will be deployed to the JDF and Jamaica Constabulary Force, as well as elements of the private sector involved in security work. At the recent passing out parade in Montego, St. Anne, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said Jamaica's best hope of significantly reducing crime hinged on a positively engaged youth population.
That is why, through Community Renewal Program in collaboration with the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, we have identified some 20 of our island's most volatile communities and designed specific and targeted social programs that seek to engage youth in productive and legal enterprise.
More than $30 million is being spent to implement disaster mitigation efforts in Douglas Castle, St. Anne. Residents of the farming community were impacted by extensive flooding in 2017. After touring the community last weekend, local government minister Desmond McKenzie says flood mitigating works must commence immediately before the hurricane season intensifies. $15 million will be released this week to the St. Anne Municipal Corporation to get the work started. It includes regular cleaning of the close to 30 sinkholes which make the area prone to flooding. The Jamaica Fire Brigade unit in Westmoreland, which drains water when areas are submerged, is to be temporarily based at the St. Anne Fire Station until after the hurricane season. A section of the Douglas Castle Road is also to be raised by approximately 15 meters and box culverts constructed. The local government minister is urging the residents to implement environmental best practices to assist in alleviating flooding in the area.
When we look at some of the areas, we can see the deforestation, we can see the cutting down of trees, we can see the erosion that has taken place. That is a contributing factor to the problems that Douglas Castle is facing.
The local government ministry will be spearheading the disaster mitigation works in partnership with OPM, the NWA, and the parish's municipal corporation. The Ministry of Education has opened its second Youth Innovation Center in St. Catherine, which includes a homework space and a recording studio. The expansion is due to a partnership between the ministry and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. Speaking at the recent opening of the Youth Innovation Center in Spanish Town, the Youth State Minister Floyd Green said he was excited to see what would develop from this initiative.
We're pairing our youth centers now and making them into homework centers. So we want the young people to come into the center, yes, to work on their business plans, yes, to work on their music, but also importantly, to work with other youth on their homework.
And finally, a trauma team from the Ministry of Education has been conducting grief counseling sessions with the children and staff of Anchovy Primary School following the death of a student there. 8-year-old Easton Stapleton died on the compound of the St. James School after he was struck by a teacher's car around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Principal of Anchovy Primary, Cheryl Grant Mitchell, says the whole ordeal has been traumatic and painful, not just to students, but also to teachers who have openly expressed their grief and agony over the death of the young boy. A statement from the Education Ministry says his death is still being investigated to ascertain a full and comprehensive report on what happened.
His spirit will be missed by all, and I want to offer my thoughts and prayers to his family. I also want to urge the public to await the full investigation into the matter and be sensitive to the tragic nature of the accident.
The Education Minister says the trauma team that was dispatched will continue to offer support to the school community. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.